Welcome to the Business Women Australia podcast show, the podcast that brings together industry leaders to discuss the latest trends, insights, and strategies. So sit back and relax. Let's get inspired by the amazing women who are shaping the future of professional women in Australia. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
So welcome everyone. If you are coming in, listening to us live streaming, we're going to be talking about the Business Women Australia Leadership Retreat in Ubud, Bali on the 7th to the 10th of Ubud, August 2025 next year. And we've got wonderful guest Vida Carlino, who's been working with me on the design, curating the extraordinary experience. Vida, tell us, what's the inspiration behind this retreat? We've been talking about this for a few years, but what really led you to co-design this particularly with Business Women Australia?
I would say it's because I've always had a passion about creating spaces and opportunities for us to turn inward, put down our armor, and access our spirit within, our true essence. And I found through doing Cheese, Chats and Wines, which we've been co-hosting together for the last 5 years, that amazing things happen when these women come together. They get new perspective, new insights, new understandings, build strong bonds and relationships. And a retreat is the natural progression, the next step. And I think we're ready for it. I think we're ready to have these challenging conversations about what it's like to be a woman leader in today's society.
And it is really a leadership development program in essence, isn't it? So, what is it about leadership and spending that time, investing in yourself?
I think it's like, well, it does still have standard leadership training in it, but I think what it is, it's about stepping outside your normal environment, looking at life with new eyes, new perspectives and understanding. And I think what's really different about this retreat is that we have a really strong mindful and holistic approach, and everything, all the practices and exercises and trainings that will happen over the weekend come from that. I mean, when you think about it, there's organizations and businesses around the world implementing mindfulness programs because of the effect on the business, because it improves quality, it improves productivity. So mindfulness is a very big part of us, and that's one of the main differences. And I also want to mention that I think something that's really extraordinary about this weekend is that we value the attributes of the masculine and feminine archetypes equally. Like for a long time, business structures and success models and power systems have all been built on the masculine, with qualities like, productivity, outcome, dominance, motivation, control, drive. And these are great qualities, otherwise we'd never get anything done. But unless we value the feminine qualities as well, like intuition, creativity, compassion, understanding, collaboration, connection, unless we value them equally, oppression and inequality flourishes and we all miss out. So I think it's really important that we include that.
Yeah, you were saying how long we've been doing these Cheese and Chats, and I can remember, those early days when we were having very courageous conversations, and, we'd get some people turning up thinking it was going to be a workshop, with a framework, and really it was this incredible ability to sit inside a safe space with other women, not to be fixed, but to actually lean into a sense of vulnerability and sharing. As a leader, I know that impacted certainly on me and the type of leadership and management style that I started to develop as a having been influenced by that kind of experience and realizing that, this is really how I could become a very authentic individual, not just at home where I found it easy and amongst my friends, but in the workplace where historically I had kind of put on a different kind of persona, and I'd felt I'd lost a lot of myself. So I'm really looking forward to this retreat to be able to really embrace a lot of that further development for myself. And I'm sure others that have already booked in are really looking forward to that exploration and that adventure around diving deep into our inner selves, into our whole selves, our heart, it's our intellects, our spirituality, our whole of body, without leaving any of that behind.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have spaces where we can turn inward and reconnect with the parts of us long forgotten or suppressed or denied or hidden or just can't think what I'm trying to say, but it's like we're just disconnected from it. And having time outside of our normal world, being totally away from everything that's familiar to us, brings back that connection, allows us to see what we haven't been seeing. So we can show up more authentically and more real and genuine. But I think the basics of that is how I said it's, holistic and mindful, but in that we have the parameters. And so we have the parameters of how we consciously communicate, how we talk intentionally, how we hold space, how we respect each other's differences and respect each other's view of reality. And it's those parameters that allow us the freedom and the safety and the comfort to actually turn inwards and share our real self with each other.
And why is this particularly powerful with women coming together? We've decided to, obviously being Business Women Australia, it's a female-based membership group and non-binary and transgender women all welcome. How is this really a great chance to focus on, female leadership and entrepreneurs and executives who are, often in male-dominated environments?
I think it's because women need women. Women need women mentors, women need women role models, women need women examples. We need to be inspired by each other and inspire each other. Like, we have a lot of challenges to face together. We've got the conscious and unconscious biases. We've got inequality. And just what you were saying, we've got work environments with not enough peers to support us, male-dominated environments with not many women in them. We've got inequality. We have so many things to work on together. I was reading this in the World Economic Forum report. It states that it will take 132 years to close the gender gap at the current rate.
Well, I'm not going to be around that long, Vida. I'm trying my best.
It's just shocking. But the thing is, this retreat is making an impact. It's making a difference to change culture, to focus on a leadership that is more mindful and more authentic. And women, when we come together, it's extraordinary. Like, something magic happens when women consciously come together.
I absolutely agree. I grew up in an environment, where there was a lot of boys. I've got all brothers. I grew up in the country, where there were more boys than girls. I went to a school where there were more boys, and university where there were more boys that did a commerce degree that had majority of boys. And I worked in environments where I really, really felt comfortable and loved being around men and working with men. And I was a bit of a tomboy myself, so that worked well with me. But one of the things that I've really loved through these environments that you've helped curate inside Business Women Australia, that's been a part of now our cultural DNA, that you have helped guide, is this beautiful sisterhood and this connection with the lineage of women, before us, as well as those coming through and supporting our emerging leaders. And I've just loved being able to be a part of this beautiful, supportive environment of women. And it hasn't always been like that. Some of my experiences in the corporate world have been that, a small couple of outliers of women haven't been as supportive of others. And unfortunately, that sometimes stands out greater than the actual percentage of women who are supportive and loving and nurturing of each other. And I think this is really a great opportunity. So for those of you who might be thinking about coming along and getting involved with Business Women Australia, and in particular this leadership retreat, it is a very beautiful, safe, nurturing and supportive environment to come into as a professional or as an executive or as an entrepreneurial founder. And it's the magic in the mix that we all come from different professions and different backgrounds, we're at different ages and different stages of our careers. Vida, if you can talk a little bit more about this sort of concept of self-awareness and well-being as crucial concepts in effective leadership. Can we just dive a little bit more into that? Because once upon a time, I hate to say it, but, it wasn't that long ago in our memory that people were saying, oh, that's all very woo-woo. Now it's all very much based in research around the importance of well-being and of these qualities. I hate them being called soft skills because I think it's sometimes really hard being kind and creative, and not everyone nurtures these aspects of our cultures inside organisations, but they're absolutely vital, particularly now with AI and technology coming in. These human qualities of creativity and compassion are going to be really powerful for our leaders.
And it's from us demonstrating those qualities that it becomes more acceptable. But awareness is the key to everything. And awareness is the key to authenticity. Like, just think about it. If we do not have self-awareness, we don't know what our blind spots are. We don't know how we're affecting other people. We don't know what the beliefs are that are triggering our decision-making. We're very disconnected to who we really are when we don't have self-awareness. A recent study done by Dr. Tasha Eurich, she's an organizational psychologist, and I think this says it all. And she's also the author of this book called Insight, which explains to us why it's so important to know who you are and how other people see us, and why that is really important. Anyway, she surveyed and interviewed thousands of people, and her research found that 95% of people think they're self-aware, right? But in reality, only 10 to 15% of people have self-awareness. So how can we be authentically ourselves with the courage to show our vulnerabilities and our weaknesses and our strengths and our vibrancy if we are not even aware of what they are? So awareness is key to everything. Awareness is the byproduct of mindfulness. That's what mindfulness is all about. It's the awareness that arises when we pay attention non-judgmentally to the moment. And this awareness tames the unruly qualities of our mind so that we can be more authentic and genuine and inclusive and compassionate and ruthlessly honest. So awareness
it's a classic example, isn't it, where the opportunities for self-awareness, where are they going to come from inside this retreat? What sort of things will we be, exploring and embarking upon in the program? Just a couple of little examples of what we might.
I'll just say, all the practices and learnings and teachings in the retreat are like a blend of mindfulness practices, ancient wisdom practices, positive psychology, compassion, acceptance, compassion therapy, just normal contemporary techniques. So it will be a beautiful blend of all of these things. And tell me the question again.
I'm really interested in the sorts of examples. So some of our listeners will be saying, well, what's in the program that's going to enable those kind of aha moments around awareness of myself? How am I going to learn more about myself?
Okay, so that's through everything we do on the weekend. You're going to learn awareness. We're going to learn how to communicate, how to speak intentionally, using words mindfully to have clear and purposeful engagement with other people. We're going to learn to actively listen, but listen with our heart, listen to the whole person without interruptions, without agenda, and without trying to fix or change anything. We will learn how to hold space, to create a space that is supportive and non-judgmental, so people feel free to express themselves fully, to express themselves from the truth of what they're going through. Honestly,
imagine that as managers and leaders taking those kind of extraordinary new skills and abilities back into our homes and our communities and our workplaces, where we really are able to hold space. And this sort of reminds me of the time when I brought my daughter along to one of your sessions at the Inspiration Space, and on the way home, it was pretty devastating for me to hear, but she said to me on the way home, that's the first time I've ever felt fully heard. And I made a decision that all those years ago that I wanted to learn how to hold space more as a parent. And then to actually learn how to do that as a manager with my team members as well, and how to be able to, instead of fixing them and telling them and lecturing to them, really how to hear them and listen and guide them to come to their own conclusions of things. And I think that these are the sorts of skills as leaders that we have to learn. They're a skill set that don't naturally come to us, through our university training or our trade skills or our career paths where we might have left high school and worked our way to the top. These are the sorts of things that often when we've achieved that success, we have to unlearn a lot of the things that we were learning on the ladder on the way up in order to allow others to develop and truly to understand how to empower them. And I think that these are the sorts of things that come out of that self-understanding, the self-awareness. Vida, we've I've seen some of the activities in our draft program, and we're constantly, looking at how to tweak and design this program according to the types of women who are actually enrolling in the Leadership Retreat. And I'm very excited to say, we've got such a great take-up already of bookings. There's still places. So for those of you who are listening to this recording or listening live, there are opportunities to book into the retreat. It is in Ubud. Why Ubud? And we've booked out the whole of the Blue Karma Resort, haven't we?
Yes. So we booked out the whole resort because we want to have the intimacy and the deep connection with each other without being disturbed or interrupted by other groups or other people. And it's such a beautiful place. It's a spiritual place. And it's so different from where we are here. We want to go outside our comfort zone into the unknown and experience something. And it's just like the minute we put our attention on our breath and stand still, we start to relax. The minute we take ourselves out of our world into a beautiful, nurturing, divine environment, we start to turn inward. So
leadership's an interesting concept, isn't it? Because, we look at the way the world is at the moment and, what's happening in our lives at home and internationally, and, the overwhelm that a lot of our team members might be feeling. We might be feeling it ourselves in our various roles. From your perspective, Vida, you do a lot of work with women in these kind of leadership roles in your work as an executive coach, as a leadership coach, as a place, a spiritual and soulful place that you've got at the Inspiration Space, and all the work you're doing in the conscious works. Tell me, what is your view on leadership, and what kind of leaders are we going to need, in the workplaces and in our communities now and going forward?
Well, I think the first thing about leadership is what it's not. Leadership is not just something you do. It's not a title. It's not a skill set. It's not a profession. It's a flow of how you show up. It's the flow of you being, authentically you. And what's an authentic leader but a purpose-driven leader who's deeply connected to their goals, to their principles, to their vision? They're leaders that know what they stand for. And they continuously walk their talk, building trust and inspiring others. They also know how to create environments where people feel safe, seen, heard, valued, and connected to something bigger than themselves. They naturally inspire other people to show up complete versions of themselves as well, creating a more authentic ripple effect throughout companies and organizations. It's just
we've had a lot of discussion around this concept of women, aiming to be perfect, and how limiting that sort of perfectionism can be. It comes up quite often in our courageous conversations around the women's circles and the groups. what's your advice to others who might be sort of always striving for that perfectionism?
Stop. I think it is really get to know yourself more. It's like, there's nothing more practical and wonderful than knowing who you are, loving what you do, and loving why you do it. So perfectionism is, to me, is a cry for help. It's a cry for help. It's like, maybe my boundaries are not clear enough. Maybe I've lost this connection with what's most important to my heart. Maybe there's so many reasons, but the only way of us really coming back to ourselves and having what's called emotional independence, which is a super powerful space, and it's an act of self-empowerment, is to get to know ourselves more. Is to do the work, to expand our awareness, to know how we tick. Why am I being a perfectionist? Why do I need everything to be perfect? Am I seeking external validation? Is it because I'm fearful of something? Like, what is your reason for wanting to be perfection? Because if life isn't perfect, it's not perfect. So that is such a stress. It's living very stressfully. But it doesn't matter. If we are not in a state of clarity and happiness or fulfillment, which is what emotional independence gives us. It's the ability to find peace and fulfillment in stressful and challenging situations. And we'll be doing a fair bit of work around this. So if we cannot find that in ourselves, if we are constantly in states that dwindle our happiness and our fulfillment, then we're not doing the work. Like, we'll do the work to go to the gym because we want to be fit and healthy. We'll do the work to eat the right food. But how often do we do the work to keep our mind in line with our heart, to have heart coherence, to have our mental, emotional, our physical, intuitive intelligences all moving in the same way, to have our purpose, our values, our dreams all in alignment, and taking action that supports that alignment. If we don't do the work.
I'm really looking forward to that. Look, and the work that we'll be doing on values, and on our leadership alignment with those values will be really, really important. It's been a while, I know, in my own works, it's been a while since I've revisited those values, and the values shift throughout your life too. Some become more important at different times. Yeah. Another important area was the meaningful connection and engagement amongst the participants, and how is that important, that connection and the engagement amongst each other that's going to happen at the retreat?
It's very important because it gives us validation and it gives us belonging. So by setting up the container, the environment, the culture, how we do, where there's no judgment, there's no fixing, there's no competition, where everybody's viewpoint is supported and respected. Right? This allows each of us to share our lived experiences, to share peer-to-peer sharing, to share our challenges, to share our vulnerabilities, to share our joys, to share our triumphs. And in that, we get to see ourselves in other people's stories and other people's experiences in life. We get to belong. We get to know that we are not alone. They go through this stuff as well as me. And that knowing we are not alone builds the bond of sisterhood and belonging.
It is. It's quite extraordinary, isn't it? It's the aha moment where people realise, oh, wow, I always, I have people saying to me, I always thought, you look like your life is perfect. And then when you share all this stuff, warts and all around what's going on, I realise, you're just like me. You're just sort of trying to make it work, doing the best you can. And, that in itself is really empowering for others to see that in each other and for us to connect and belong as this sisterhood that's just giving it a crack.
And just sharing it is freeing it, frees you from it. And it's like, I don't think there's many places where we have that safety and comfort, like that secure comfort to share at this deep, potent level.
Absolutely. So the thing is too, it's a leadership retreat, it's a development retreat. It's not just for people with titles that are in the C level. We want women from every area of their business and life and communities to come and join us, because the magic is in that beautiful mix. What are some of the practical skills? We've got a lot of sort of head type women in our community, as we all know. Some of them come from finance and accounting and engineering, and they want to know, what are the practical things that I'm going to learn too.
I think some of the things I've already said are very practical, like conscious communicating, speaking with intent, able to hold space. They're extremely practical skills. Emotional independence, being able to regulate your emotions, being resilient, they're extremely practical. Honoring and embracing your masculine and feminine strengths so you can be intuitive, collaborative, and inclusive whilst remaining decisive and results orientated. Very practical skills. Purpose-driven decision making. They're all practical skills.
It sounds like it's going to have a massive impact on the participants to this retreat, Vida. I mean, so many women are going to, come in with, really entrusting the process and being able to let themselves go to the process and trust that there's development opportunities and experiences that we've been curating that form these 2.5 days together are really going to have an impact. What are the sorts of things, you've run a lot of retreats and you do a lot of this work. What are the sorts of things that you've witnessed have been transformations, and how do they impact participants on that personal level that can then be transformed into their personal and work lives?
I don't think there's a difference between personal and work life. Like, how you show up is how you show up. You may use certain attributes more in one area than the other, but you're still the same whole person showing up with the same authenticity or the same not authenticity.
Well, that's probably the biggest transformation, I think, is that we will probably see that the confidence in self that comes from these kinds of retreats and the development that happens, that women will be more aligned with who they really are, and they can take that into their work environments. And that is one of the things that I've witnessed with women coming through. Even our courageous conversations, they speak at work in a different way. They show up at work in a much more authentic way. They learn to love and accept themselves in a way that really is transformational, and others see that, and then it gives others the permission to bring their whole selves to work as well.
Exactly.
For you, there's no difference. Your personal and your professional self is fully aligned. But for so many of us in our community, that this is the challenge, is to align that self, so that it is fully authentic, and we are leading from our values and our purpose wherever it is we are, that we don't have to put that mask over.
Absolutely. And there is it's like you don't have to, it's being conscious of what you're doing. So it's like, in this situation, I choose to show up like this because of whatever reasons, my values, my principles, whatever. In this situation, I choose not to show up like that. I'm only going to show this part of myself. But it's being done deliberately and consciously and mindfully, where most of the time we're just on auto mode. Not showing up fully because of a belief that's 10 years old, that's still ruling us. So, it's all about self-awareness. It's everything, building our confidence, being strong in our opinion, finding our voice, making a difference in the world. It all comes back to self-awareness. The more aware we are, the more confident we are in ourselves. The more confident we are in ourselves, the more capable we are. The more capable we are, the more we're ready to stand up for what we believe in and speak up when we normally wouldn't speak up. I like when you said soft skills at the beginning, I struggle with the concept that everything I'm talking about here is a soft skill. because without them, you can't be effective and efficient. These are the powerful skills, not soft skills.
Yep, I much prefer that terminology, Vida. We're going to start calling them the powerful skills.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a bit of fun in it too, isn't there? It's not all heavy.
No, definitely not. We've got time for reflection, time to have a massage, time to, we've got a few little fun things that we're keeping secret for now for the ladies to enjoy. But yeah, we will have fun, and we will have amazing conversations and interactions, and we will learn so much about ourselves, and we can apply that learning into our work, into our family, into every aspect of our life. And it's like, it's like a coming home to ourselves. We're coming back to what we've always had, but sometimes we just get a little fog in between and we disconnect.
Yeah.
Now it's time to connect again, and then bring all that juicy, wonderful skills into our lives and share it with as many people as possible.
That's brilliant. So, Vida, is there anything else that you'd like to share about the retreat, and how do people who are interested in coming aboard and joining us in Ubud in 2025 from the 7th to the 9th, from the 7th to the 10th of August, what else can you say just to wrap up?
Well, I would say trust in yourself. You don't have to believe right now. You don't, just trust. If you've got a little inkling, a little stirring, a little resistance even, take the next step. Just trust the unfolding, because when women come together in this format, in this style, magic happens. Your life will transform, and so will your work.
Absolutely. And with that note, what I'll say is anyone who's thinking about coming aboard, joining us at the retreat, please jump onto the Business Women Australia website. There's an online registration form. There's details on there. It's $5,500, which includes everything, all the accommodation, the food. You get your airfares, you get to Bali. If you want to stay longer, that's all up to you. I know that I have some family members who are very keen to meet me up in Bali after the retreat. So we'll probably be heading on to do some scuba diving up in north of the islands. Look, I'm so excited about this retreat. If anyone's listening and got questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, Lynn at businesswomenaustralia.com.au, or to Vida. Vida, your email address?
Vida at inspirationspace.co. And yeah, we're happy to chat with you about anything.
Yep, absolutely. So we've still got some places. It's not too late to register and be a part of this amazing cohort of 20 women at the Blue Karma Resort. We've booked out the entire resort, so it is a beautiful, safe space. It's just for us. It's a private and beautiful retreat. Wonderful program. There's some incredible development opportunities inside there. If you're getting sponsored by your organisation to come and you want more details on the actual program, we're happy to provide those. It is fully tax deductible. It is a legitimate development program, and we're very keen to have you join us and be a part of the journey, the adventure, and the self-discovery and awareness that goes with being an authentic and wonderful leader. Thanks very much, Vida.
Thank you.
It's great to have you on the show, and no doubt we'll be back again. We'll be back again soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, look forward to it.
You have been listening to the Business Women Australia podcast show. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode and gained some valuable insights to empower you on your journey. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to stay updated in our latest episodes. And if you're not already a member of Business Women Australia, what are you waiting for? Head to our website today and join so that you can connect with a thriving community of inspiring women across Australia. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.